Hello, and welcome to The Ordeal. Today I want to talk about Joe Biden. Looks like good old Uncle Joe wants your nomination in the 2020 presidential election. So he's going to talk to you about how he is pro women and for non whites. Why is this important, I hear you asking? Because, in case you haven't heard, according to a large portion of the left, white men are evil. This is news to me. And as a white male, I have gone my whole adult life without trying to hurt anyone. I know, shocking, isn't it? Although I think some people would claim I am worse than Hitler. And why would they say such a thing? Because I tend to speak my mind. And for some reason, in the country that founded freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and has codified those freedoms as their highest legal principles, people get offended when I speak my opinion. Well, to all those people who find my opinion offensive, I say this: go back to grade school. In any case, what does Uncle Joe say? He says, we here in the US have a white male society. This, in case you are unaware, has apparently led to all of the ills of the world. Nothing good has come from white men, nothing at all. Let's hear what he has to say, shall we?
When a woman sees a distinguished professor or lawyer subject to that kind of cultural backlash, whether it was Dr. Ford or Professor Hill, saw what they endured, it's understandable that they're reluctant to step forward and tell their own stories of harassment or abuse. Folks, I realize I get a little too passionate about this sometimes, but we all have an obligation to do nothing less than change the culture in this country. That's just the laws. We change the laws. Change the culture. The culture. You all know what the phrase rule of thumb means? Where it's derived from? In English common law, not codification, common law. Back in the late 1300s, so many women were dying at the hands of their husbands because they were a chattel, just like the cattle or the sheep, that the court of common law decided they had to do something about the extent of the death. So you know what they said? No man has a right to chastise his woman with a rod thicker than the circumference of his thumb. This is English jurisprudential culture, a white man's culture. It's got to change. It's got to change.
So, a couple things there. He talks about women coming forward and being chastised, ridiculed, in some way having a bad experience when they come forward with stories of sexual assault, sexual abuse. I've known women who've told me that they were raped and they didn't even really care. I knew one woman who told me that she was raped, and men were offering to kick the guy's butt. She didn't go to the police, but her friends were offering to kick this guy's butt. And she said, no, 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 don't do that. He's an MMA fighter. I've studied MMA, I've practiced MMA, I've done jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, judo, many different martial arts. But I'm pretty small, so this guy's probably bigger than me and would probably beat me up. Because when skill is even, it comes down to other things like strength and size. So, what can you do? She wouldn't even tell me the guy's name. So that's one thing that he brought up, that it's like women coming forward, yeah, they shouldn't be ridiculed for that. They shouldn't be berated for that. But there should be an investigation if someone is accused of a crime. You can't just go, well, that person's guilty then. No, there needs to be an investigation, which is what happens typically, right? I would hope that if somebody accused me of a crime, ever, there would be an investigation. I have the right to address my accuser, to face my accuser. That's what we have in this country. We don't have that in a lot of other places in the world. So be thankful that we do. Another claim that Uncle Joe makes is that women were chattel in the past in the Western world. This is not true. Outside of slavery, women were not chattel. And of course, obviously, given the definition of slave, they would be Chattel. Slaves are chattel. That's how they were. But that wasn't exclusive to women. No, no, that was men and women. And you want to sit here and blame the English for treating their women like chattel? Not true. Not true. Not true. The English are very good to their women. The English always have been very good to their women. English-speaking countries have always treated their women quite well. And yeah, they did use slavery in the past. And by the way, you can think a non-white country for the modern day version of slavery that we have. The Ottoman Turks founded slavery as we know it today. Now, if you don't believe me, go ahead and look this stuff up. You can find all this information. Just look at your history books. You'll see Ottoman Turks started slavery as we know it today. And they were especially fond of white women. And no, in the Western world, women have never been treated like chattel as a group. Slaves have been treated like chattel, and some women were slaves, yes. But no, women as a group have never been treated like chattel. All right, Uncle Joe? And then he goes on to talk about the rule of thumb. Good old rule of thumb. Yeah. Why don't we let Christina Hoff Sommers take that one? Take it away, Christina.
For years, women's activists have warned against using the phrase rule of thumb because of its shameful origins in wife abuse. Well, here is the story according to the leading law school textbook on domestic violence law. Quote, "The rule of thumb of English common law permitted a man to beat his wife with a rod or switch as long as its circumference was no greater than the girth of the base of the man's right thumb. These laws established a tradition which was perpetuated in English common law and in most of Europe." Well, the phrase did not originate in any law about wife abuse, nor has anyone ever been able to locate any such law. It is now largely regarded as a myth, even by most feminist professors. Did not originate in wife abuse. It seems to be that it came into use sometime in the 17th century. According to one folklorist, the real explanation derives from woodworkers who knew their trade so well that they didn't have to use rulers. Instead, they could measure things, for example, by the length of their thumbs. Did such a law ever exist? Was it deeply embedded in the English common law tradition, in American law?
No, no.
The answer is no. The myth about this phantom law has been around for a long time. There was the occasional 19th century British and American jurist who mentioned the phantom law, but it has never been found. And believe me, people have tried. What they came up with is an 18th century judge named Francis Buller, and allegedly he deployed some version of this husband and stick law in his courtroom. Well, he never did refer to the law in any official ruling. He mentioned it in an off-the-record remark. He was then mercilessly pilloried in the London press and caricatured in cartoons as Judge Thumb.
I left a link to Christina Hoff Sommers' video in the description. Check out her channel, The Factual Feminist. She has a lot of really great information on there. Basically, she tears down modern day feminism and how it's completely unnecessary and headed in the wrong direction. Already is firmly encamped in the wrong position. I want to point out something about creepy Uncle Joe Biden. And I call him creepy because there's a lot of people pointing out that he is a little creeper. Now, I was in support of the Obama-Biden campaign both times. I thought they were the better candidates in the presidential election when they were running. And certainly gas prices were much lower when they were in office. But Joe Biden is being hypocritical here. He is a little bit too handsy with the ladies and underage girls. Even he gets a little handsy there, and you can see these videos on, and you can look for more on the internet. They're all over the place. But yeah, I've voted Democrat. When I vote Democrat. But this is ridiculous. This is getting out of hand. I am not evil because I am white. I was taught not to hit girls. That's what I was taught. You don't hit girls. Okay? Our society teaches men not to sexually assault women. Do you know how I know that? Because I know that sexually assaulting someone is horrendous, and my parents never sat me down and said, "Hey, you don't sexually assault people." Never once. Never once did my parents tell me not to sexually assault anyone. But yet I know that it's bad. I wonder where that knowledge came from if it wasn't from my parents. So there's no culture in the United States, there's no culture in the West of misogynist, abusive men. This is ridiculous, okay? I have been abused by men, I have been abused by women. People are jerks to each other all of the time. People are self-interested. They do not care about you if they don't know you. And even if they do know you, a lot of times they don't care about you. So yeah, it's not gender specific. People are jerks. Get used to it. That's the way it is. Unfortunately, I wish that people were nicer. I wish that people treat each other with better respect. I really do, but they don't. That's just the reality that we live in. So this is all I got for today, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.